Hello and welcome to Raw Logic. Today we are diving into the psychology of persuasion. We're going to be talking about those, well, kind of invisible forces that are constantly shaping our thoughts and our actions every single time we go online.
Yeah, it's something we all feel, and today we're going to break down exactly how it works, why it's so powerful, and what it really means for our own minds.
You know that feeling, right? You put your phone down after maybe a little too much scrolling, and you just feel a little off. Maybe it's this low-grade anxiety or just this weird sense that you've been led somewhere without really knowing how or why. Well, that is not an accident.
And that feeling, that's exactly what we're pulling back the curtain on today. But here's the thing, to really understand these tactics that are happening out there, we first have to look inward. That is so true. We have to understand the basic wiring of our own minds, because that wiring is precisely what these techniques are designed to plug directly into.
Exactly. So let's start right there with that invisible wiring. This is the bedrock psychology that makes all of this digital persuasion even possible. Okay, so it all starts with a concept that sociologists call the social construction of reality. Now, that sounds academic, but really just think of it as your own personal blueprint for how the world works, built piece by piece from every experience you've ever had. Remember the first time you went to a friend's house as a kid? You probably noticed their family had different rules, different smells, different foods. In that moment, your brain was bumping up against their reality and trying to figure out how it fit with your own. And the tool our brain uses to navigate all these different realities is something called cognitive complexity. Now, this isn't about being smart or your IQ. It's our brain's natural, built-in ability, and honestly, its desire to chew on complex information. It's that aha moment you get when you finally solve a really tough puzzle, that feeling of connecting all the different mismatched pieces. And this lima bean example shows it perfectly. A simple, low-complexity thought is just pure gut reaction. Ugh, lima beans are gross. But a cognitively complex thought can hold multiple ideas at once. Okay, I really don't like their texture, but I know they're really good for you. Our brains are actually built for that kind of nuance. And that's the key thing to remember. A lot of the online world is specifically engineered to bypass that natural, nuanced, complex thinking.
Right. So let's open up what we're calling the Persuader's Digital Toolkit. We're going to look at the specific tactics that are built to tap into those psychological foundations we just talked about.
When you boil it all down, these tactics really fall into three main buckets. They get us by taking advantage of our brain's love of shortcuts, by hitting us with powerful emotional appeals, and by tapping into our very human need for social connection. So let's start with those cognitive shortcuts. One of the biggest tools here is called binary messaging. This is where incredibly complex, messy topics, politics, science, you name it, are flattened into two simple opposing sides, good versus bad, truth versus lies. It's fast, it's easy to digest, and it basically robs us of the chance to do that critical, complex thinking we're actually built for. And this binary messaging, it feeds directly into a really powerful part of human nature, confirmation bias. We are all, and I mean all of us, wired to look for and agree with information that confirms what we already believe. It just feels good to be right. So when you present an issue as a simple us versus them, we naturally drift toward the side that makes us feel validated. And that's how you get those digital echo chambers. Okay, the next lever is all about emotion. This is where digital nudging comes in. It is the deliberate use of emotional pressure to get you to do something. Think about a notification that's designed to give you FOMO, that fear of missing out, or a countdown timer on a shopping site that creates this totally fake sense of urgency. These nudges want you to feel first and think later. And these emotional appeals are incredibly powerful. I mean, some research estimates that as much as 93% of a message's emotional meaning is transmitted non-verbally. Online, things like emojis have become a huge part of that. They send emotion and intent in an instant, and studies actually show we often find them more believable than the words themselves. And finally, you have social pressure, which gets at our deep need to belong. Social proof is the classic example. When we see a product with thousands of 5-star reviews, our brain takes a shortcut and just assumes, well, it must be good. And this gets supercharged by influencers, whose recommendations can feel less like a commercial and more like a tip from a friend you trust. But what's really fascinating is what actually changes our minds when we're genuinely open to it. A huge study on the subreddit Change My View found something amazing. The arguments that were most persuasive were not the shortest or the most emotional. They were actually longer, more analytical, and used more complex language. They appeal to that higher level, nuanced thinking that, like we said, our brains actually crave. All of this brings up a really interesting question about influence itself. I mean, how deep can it really go? To kind of illustrate the core principles here in an extreme way, let's just do a little thought experiment. Is it possible to influence someone without any physical contact at all? It's a pretty good metaphor for how these unseen digital forces can direct us.
And this really gets to the heart of it. In things like no-contact combat, the principles are purely psychological. It's about exploiting natural instincts, just like our fear of missing out. It's about synchronizing with someone's state of being, kind of like jumping on a viral trend. You manipulate their attention with nudges and notifications, and you project a clear intention, like a buy now button. It's just a powerful metaphor for how unseen forces guide our actions online.
So this brings us to a really critical ethical crossroads. When you have psychological tools this powerful, where exactly do you draw the line between just good persuasion and outright manipulation? And what are the real-world consequences when that line gets crossed? Well, the research shows a pretty stark dilemma here. On the one hand, these psychological tactics, they absolutely work. They boost engagement significantly, scoring an 8 out of 10 in some studies. But on the other hand, those exact same tactics raise huge ethical red flags, with people perceiving them as manipulative at a level of 7 out of 10. There's this massive tension between what works and what feels right. But the impact goes so much deeper than just perception. The same research found a correlation that is, frankly, really sobering. For people who are aware that they're being targeted by these manipulative tactics, their average self-reported mental health score was a shocking 1.5 out of 10. As the researchers put it directly, quote, "Continuous exposure to marketing messages can lead to anxiety, depression, and diminished self-esteem. This constant drip of engineered urgency, of social comparison, of emotional nudging, it can take a very real psychological toll, and vulnerable groups, like teenagers, are especially at risk." Okay, so I know this all might sound a little bit grim, but here is the most important part of this entire conversation. Awareness. Awareness itself is the most powerful tool you have. So let's talk about how to actually navigate this world with your eyes open and reclaim your own attention. So think of these as your mental defenses. First, get good at spotting that simple black and white messaging, and then actively look for the gray areas it's trying to hide. Second, when you feel that sudden rush of emotional urgency, that FOMO, just pause and ask yourself, where is this feeling coming from? Third, start to notice just how much the crowd, social proof, is influencing your choices. And finally, make a conscious effort to value those well-thought-out, complex arguments over the quick, reactive sound bites. Look, the goal here isn't to say technology is bad or that you should just log off forever. It's much simpler than that. It's about making a shift from being in a state of unconscious reaction to one of conscious evaluation. Just seeing the tactics for what they are is the first and honestly the biggest step toward getting your own autonomy back. So we'll leave you with this question to think about. Now that you can see some of this invisible architecture that's built to persuade you, how will you choose to navigate the digital world just a little bit differently?
If you found these psychological insights helpful for answering that question, we'd love it if you'd subscribe to the Raw Logic channel. We break down complex topics just like this every single week. Thanks for joining us.